All right. Okay. So, we're back again. Trying to get things moving. It's been a fantastic week already. Yeah. Hopefully hopefully everyone ate a lot of food this week. It was Thanksgiving weekend. Or Thanksgiving week, I should say, per se. I spent a good amount of time with my my in-laws, with my family, with everybody, everybody that's what the holiday season is all about, right? Spending all the good times with your family, with your friends, the people that you care about. Feel really sorry for the people that had to work on those days. I knew a few people that, where I work, they forced them to come in, so that really sucks. So for the most part, I hope everybody spent time with their loved ones. I'm over here trying to see what's up. I'm having all kinds of technical difficulties. All right, here we go. All right, so if we keep it there, we'll be fine. So it's been there's been crazy things that have happened. There's been a lot of shakeups in the NBA so far. So why don't we jump into the standings as of Saturday, November 24th. All right. So this is as of November 24th. There's been quite a bit of a shakeup. Last night was a little scary for me as a Boston Celtics fan, because I checked the standings and they were at like number 8 or something. And since in one night things can change, so it's crazy how the NBA works, right? So at number 1, comfortably at number 1 right now is Toronto. However, they have been on a 3-game losing streak, so we'll see if they can keep it up, because Milwaukee at number 2 is coming very, very, very quickly, right? They are 1 game away. They're about 2 games away from. So let me put it like this: if Toronto loses a game and Milwaukee wins a game, they're tied, right? So, or no, if Toronto were to lose and Milwaukee were to win, Milwaukee will take the number 1 spot in the East. But as of right now, Toronto is at number 1. Milwaukee is at number 2. Indiana at number 3. Boston at number 4 after falling all the way to 8 probably like 2 days ago, if not last night. So, that could have been a close one. However, the Boston Celtics are definitely not doing so well, right? So, actually, I forgot to refresh this thing. So, just forget what I just said earlier. So, Toronto is at number 1 still, right? Milwaukee is at number 2. Philadelphia is at number 3. So there's been a big turnaround for Philadelphia as far as how Jimmy Butler's doing with the new look Philadelphia 76ers. We'll continue to look at that. But Indiana at number 4, right? This all happened because I forgot to refresh this screen, so my fault. Detroit at number 5, and Boston's at number 6, right? So again, last night they were like at number 8, and I was gonna be very, very upset reporting today on the Boston Celtics record or their standings. Charlotte is at number 7, and they're catching up very, very quickly to the Boston Celtics as of right now. And Orlando is taking that number 8 spot right now, right? And at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, we have a change. Remember how I said Cleveland was at number was the last spot of the East? Now that is not the case. Now it's Atlanta. So now Atlanta's screwing up, right? And in all honesty, it's just because they lost 2 more games than Cleveland. So it could be because Cleveland hasn't played another 2 more games, because they just lost to the Los Angeles Lakers not too long ago. So it was LeBron's return to Cleveland. And unsurprisingly, obviously, LeBron James took care of business, right? We saw the Los Angeles Lakers just kind of take over. I mean, it was close. It was a close game. But the Lakers, but no surprise, won that game. Now, the Western Conference is where things have gotten a little weird, right? I remember at the beginning of the season, the Los Angeles Clippers were not even in any playoff spot, right? But right now at what, probably, gosh, I'm trying to do my math right now. Like almost 20 games. We're almost at 20 games here. And the Los Angeles Clippers, instead of not being in any playoff spots right now, they're number one, which is surprising because I'm not even sure who's on the team anymore. Like I really I haven't really paid too much attention to the Clippers, but they're at number one right now. That's crazy. Their record right now is 12-6, and they're tied with Oklahoma City. Do you remember when Oklahoma City wasn't doing good at all? Like they were, again, they were kind of like the LA Clippers. Like they were like, what happened to them? You know? And I mean, they still have Russell Westbrook, and what Russell Westbrook has been dealing with all kinds of injuries, and so he's been in and out, and he's been having all kinds of minutes restrictions, and there's been a lot of precautionary like measures taken with Russell Westbrook, which is obviously, arguably, the Oklahoma City's best player, right? Aside from also they still have Paul George and Steven Adams, who they're just rocking Oklahoma City right now. So yeah, they're at number 2. Memphis is at number 3. Golden State. Remember how I said it didn't surprise us that Golden State would be number 1, but right now this whole feud that's been going on with Durant and Andre and Draymond Green. Excuse me. It's been I guess it's taken a toll because they're at number 4 now. So a lot of crazy things have happened. I mean, Stephen Curry, I think he was out for a few games. He was actually involved in a minor accident. You know, I think he drives a really nice car, and you know he was involved in some sort of collision or whatever. But he's fine, and he'll probably get a brand new car. He's not gonna fix that car. He's probably gonna give that one away or something, or I don't know what he's gonna do. He should give it to me. I'll take it. But yeah, they're now at on the number 4 spot. So they fell a few spots. But it's real weird. It's simply because they've lost more games than all the other. Because 1, 2, and 3 in the West. Sorry, I'm breathing heavily for some reason. It's probably because I ate a lot, which is no surprise. I'm a fatty. So 1 through 3, 1, 2, and 3 all have the exact same record, right? So that's crazy, you know. So Golden State fell to number 4 because of that reason. Simply because they're 13-7, so they've lost one more game than the other teams above them. So they still have more wins at 13 than 1, 2, and 3. However, they've lost one more game than they have. So if they've played they've played 2 more games than everybody. They lost 1 more and won 1 more, which is, I know that's confusing. But Denver is at number 5. Do you remember how hot Denver was at the beginning of the season? That's how you know that the NBA, everything changes just like that. It's crazy. You can't really rely and be like, oh, the first 10 games we like won every single game, and because you just never know. Injuries happen, and it may not just be injuries, but I don't know. Other teams start to actually jive, and they start to have better chemistry, and they start to play a lot better, and they start to play with a better system or whatever it might be. But you see a lot of changes, a lot as the season progresses. I think the best time to pay attention and when this podcast is going to get very interesting is after the All-Star break, right? So anyways, Portland is at number 6, the Los Angeles Lakers at number 7, and the Sacramento Kings at number 8. And on the outside looking in is Houston. Okay, so and the to round up the bottom of the West is still Phoenix. So Phoenix isn't doing too good still, and they have a lot to catch up to at least make it out of that last spot in the West, right? So they have to win 4 more games, and Utah has to lose 4 games. So it's safe to say that Phoenix is comfortably in last place. So I want to spend just you know what? I'm not even going to spend that much time on the Celtics just because I'm really angry how the way they're playing. So yeah, I'm not happy. They in the way I see it is they suck right now, and they could definitely be better. But that's it. So right here on the headlines, Markelle Fultz not in the 76ers long term plans. I had heard some rumors that Markelle Fultz is he's not feeling you know, playing with the Sixers anymore. You know, he's kind of like, I think when he was drafted, I feel like he felt like he was supposed to be the next franchise player, but they got Joel Embiid, which it's obvious that his role on the team is to be the franchise player. Him and also Jimmy Butler. So he probably feels like he's not gonna be paid attention to anymore. So I don't know what kind of team he would want to be with, or if he wants if he wants to go to a team where he can be the star or whatever. But however, we have to remember that this is his first season. I think it's his first season because last year he got an injury and then he got the yips. I don't know if you guys ever knew what the yips are, but it's some sort of it's like mentally you can't play. You know, you can't do the basic things of that has to do with the sport. Like for example, in the NBA, he's not able to dribble the ball or he's not able to shoot the ball or whatever. And there's something blocking him mentally. Like he just got so nervous in the position that he was at or whatever it might be, but he wasn't able to play. It happens in baseball. That term is I don't know if it's a baseball term. However, that's the first term that I've heard when it's compared to baseball. Like for example, the pitcher gets the yips, and he's not able to throw to first base or whatever. I don't know why I'm so out of breath. It's not like I've been running around everywhere or anything, but whatever. So Markelle or the 76ers themselves are saying that Markelle Fultz is not really in the long-term plans right now, which is it's I don't know. He was drafted basically number one. I think what had happened the way the 76ers acquired Markelle Fultz was the Boston Celtics were actually supposed to acquire him. He was supposed to go number one. However, the Boston Celtics, Danny Ainge, he actually made a trade with the Philadelphia 76ers to send because the Celtics got the number one pick, right? I mean, they got the number 3 pick. So what they did is they traded. No, wait, what happened? No, they had the number 1 pick, and Philadelphia loves the number 1, right? They'll trade anything for the number 1 pick, even if it's like even if it's not probably the best thing for them to do. They just see that they're getting the number 1 pick, and they think that they're going to get the best player in the draft. That obviously was not really the case with Markelle Fultz. So Danny Ainge knew that they were pretty much going to go with him regardless. They wanted to go with him. So no one was really looking at Jason Tatum. Okay? And so he already knew that if he were to give up the number 1 pick to Philadelphia, he would get assets for the Boston Celtics, as in more picks or whatever it might be, and he would give up the number 1 pick. He'd get these assets, and he already probably knew that they were going to go with Markelle Fultz, and that the Los Angeles Lakers were going to stupidly go with Lonzo Ball, because they just go with whatever they go with, whatever the headlines are saying to go with. And Danny Ainge had already had his sights set on Jason Tatum. So if he already knew that he can get Jason Tatum at number 3, it's easy to make that trade, get Jason Tatum at number 3, and also get these other assets that he wanted. So it was a win-win for the Boston Celtics, and Jason Tatum has been a great developing player. He's a young player. He's a star in the making. So so all he has to work on is his consistency. So Yeah, so who knows what's going to happen with Markel Fultz? They're probably going to package a trade for him and acquire maybe another point guard or whoever might be. I think if, what's his name? Jaleel Okafor is still on the team. I'm not sure if he is. I mean, it would help to kind of know these things, right? So let me look it up. Something that they can do is if they have Jaleel Okafor, they can package him with Markel Fultz to get a pretty good team together. So it doesn't look like they do not have what's his name, Jaleel Okafor. I don't even know who he plays with anymore. Anyways, yeah, so that's what's happening with Philadelphia is they're kind of you know seeing what they can do, seeing who they can get for Markel Fultz. Um, a lot of the headlines are just about Stephen Curry being out or expected to play again. Let's see. There's really not much. The Grizzlies are expected to sign Joakim Noah. I remember Joakim Noah. He was a great player, and he got into some sort of trouble, I guess because of marijuana or whatever. I don't know. But the guy, he was a very great defensive player with the Bulls. He was a pretty decent offensive player. He grabbed rebounds. He did everything that you would want a center to do, and he kind of just got into some trouble, and you kind of forgot more or less about him. There's really not much that have been happening. There's been rumors that Carmelo Anthony might be signing with the Los Angeles Lakers, but those were just rumors that you see on Instagram. So, until it's officially on these news sites, I don't really pay too much attention to them, and I don't get, like, for example, if I was if someone was a all-star player was thinking about going to the Boston Celtics and I see it on Instagram, I tend to not get excited about it until I see it like officially on like ESPN or on SportsCenter or on Score or whatever it might be. It has to be on those official sites for me to be like, oh, so this is legitimately, and I don't see any news at all of Carmelo Anthony trying to join the Lakers or whatever. This is pretty funny. The Bucks. Brooke Lopez, oh man, he sets NBA record for the most 3-pointers without a make. I think this is in one game. So NBA record, right? So this is not a record that anybody wants. Where he throws up more threes than he makes, and I think the record is the record he set was 12. So he shot up 12 and he didn't make any of them, which is terrible. That's not something that you would want. I don't know. There's really not much that has happened since last week. Last week was jam packed because of the whole Butler thing, and because of the whole Durant and Draymond Green thing. Who knows what's gonna happen later with that? But it seems like it's made an effect, and you can kind of tell with speaking of Golden State. You see that they're not as together as they used to be. Like, they were an unstoppable force, and you can see it because they had chemistry and they worked together, and there was no riffraff between any of them. But right now, it seems like tensions are kind of running high, and even though I don't know if it's Golden State's publicist or if it's whoever it might be, they're saying, hey, you guys need to look like you guys are getting along. It doesn't matter if you do that, because if you're not getting along, we can all see it, But I don't know. So let's see what happens with Golden State. But as of right now, it seems like they're struggling. They're struggling as much as a team like Golden State can actually struggle, which is actually not bad because they're not in a bad spot in the NBA right now. They're still one of the most. They're right now they're in a slump, right? And this isn't something that doesn't happen to good teams. It happens to every team. Like, for example, the Los Angeles Lakers started in a slump. They started off really bad because of this whole new adjustment that every player, all the coaching staff and everyone had to do. They had to adjust for LeBron. So this is just a point where, tensions run high, and it happens. I mean, it happens when you know someone for too long. You just get angry for any little thing, and it all depends on how well you squash the situation and how well you can get over it. It's kind of like a marriage. I should know because I'm married. um you can overreact over the stupidest, littlest things, and if you kind of able to get over it, then you get stronger as a unit, right? I've seen that in my marriage, right? Where I'll get frustrated over something really, small or whatever, and it's really something more internal that I'm like feeling frustrated about, but whatever it might be, we get over it, and it's just, I don't know, it works out for the best because from then on you have a stronger union. And it's the same with these NBA teams. There's areas where they start to lose games and they start to blame it on each other, and they don't really see that, what are the things that I need to work on in my where I'm at, so I can help everyone out without really damaging the team or whatever it might be. I want to help. Every single player is gonna have to do that at one point, right? And it comes to a point where sometimes, heads clash. I mean, you're in a team of, 10, 15 guys. Everyone wants to put their input on, and sometimes people are going to just write it off, and it feels really bad, when maybe you have some sort of idea. So maybe, Draymond Green was like, "Hey, what if we do this?" And what if Kevin Durant wasn't feeling that idea and he was like, "Nah, it's stupid, dude. We're gonna do this," and tensions can run high after that. But you got to remember, like, if you play for a team, you're as a team. Yeah, you might need a leader, but at the end, you have to adjust to a system so that you're successful. If you can't do that, then you can just forget about being a winning franchise. You can forget about winning the championship this season, which I don't know if I mean I'm pretty sure it's important to the Golden State Warriors to win games. However, I don't think they need to. They've won enough. So, but then again, they're in the Western Conference, and they have this brand new Lakers team who you do not want to count out right now, especially with LeBron James. So, granted, if they're able to somehow take out the Golden State Warriors in the offseason, in the playoffs, in the conference finals or whatever, they can easily win a championship this season. I'm not saying that they're going to, because even real Laker fans are like, now's not the time to think that they could win a championship. But you just never know how all these teams up above can fall apart. Like we saw Denver. Not that Denver's falling apart, but we saw them get off to a really, really hot start, and right now they're just kind of like a regular team again. Because keep in mind, the longer the league goes on, the season goes on, the more teams get adjusted to each other, and they're like, "Oh, this is what we got to look out for." And it's really right now, after the first 20 games is when you kind of see the coaches finally develop moves and develop plays, and you really see the adjustments that the entire team has to make as of this point. So it's still very early. So to say that the Golden State Warriors are falling apart, it's still too soon to say. But if they continue this way, it could end very badly. One thing that I did want to bring up is, man, so Thanksgiving just happened, and was very thankful for everything. It's been nice, it's been cool. So but what's crazy is, let me just log into this real quick. Silence. So, I mean, to me at least, Thanksgiving is, about being thankful, right? It's about spending time with, the your favorite people, the people that, remind you of home, the people who you care about. That's what Thanksgiving's about. And I couldn't help but, because I'm on social media. I see it all the time. It's like people share posts and people will, you know, post things and say that like say stuff like, "Oh, while you're enjoying your turkey, just remember that there's people out there who are just starving, and that Thanksgiving was a tradition that was started, because, the Pilgrims came in and they killed and raped all the Native Americans, and that's why you're celebrating Thanksgiving. Just remember that." What do you guys want us to do? Like, seriously, do you guys want us to just sit in a corner and be sad? I feel like I mean, there's times to be angry sometimes, right? There's times where it's just like, all right, that's unjust. It's not right. These things need to be corrected, But things, when Christopher Columbus, when he came over to the United States of America, or whatever it was back then, when he sailed over here to this side, to take over, or whatever it might be, it was what, 1776, I think. I don't even know the exact date, but I wasn't thought of. My parents weren't thought of. Their parents weren't thought of. No, you know how long ago that was? That's a long time ago. And what am I supposed to do? Yeah, what they did was screwed up, but we're here because of that bad situation. I don't know what to think. It's just, I don't know what these people want us to do. If they're like, hey, just remember that, people were killed and pushed out of their land. Yeah, that's terrible. I get it. I understand. Or people were bringing up the caravan, the caravan of those 7,000 people from Venezuela who left their homeland to come, pretty much ask for help over here. And, we can't do it, or whatever. Or for whatever reason, we're not able to help. And they're like, just remember that they're, suffering. And I'm like, I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. But how come I can't enjoy spending time with my family? Well, how come I can't be thankful? Even though, yes, I get it. Everyone wants to be like, oh, but I'm Mr. Holy, or I'm Mrs. Holy, and I'm thankful every day. But when do you get to sit down with your entire family and say, hey, look, I'm thankful for you guys. That's why I'm here. And we're eating food because that's what brings us the most comfort, That's why we choose comfort food, We choose stuff like mashed potatoes and gravy and turkey and ham, and I'm Mexican, so we do tamales, Sorry. Or whatever it might be. But I mean, it's important to reflect on the people who are suffering, but however, there's so much suffering on earth. Like, what's going to make people happy is that I'm suffering too. I know that sounds selfish, to some extent, to be like, oh, because they're suffering, does that mean I have to too? Everyone suffers in a certain way, and it doesn't make any sense to compare suffering to other suffering. It just doesn't make any sense. So this holiday weekend, it seemed like people were trying so hard to just bum me out, or bum people out, so that they don't celebrate happily. But I chose to, ignore all that, because I was happy and thankful that, I have a great and amazing family, that I have awesome friends, right? I have a great wife who cares a lot about me, and I care a lot about her. And now I have, because I met her, I have amazing in-laws, and have a cool, awesome family on her side, and then I have my family who's amazing and awesome, and seeing my niece and my nephew grow up and be happy and joyful, and despite the fact of any injuries they might have. My nephew broke his elbow playing flag football, so that technically makes him more of a man than I am, because I have never broken a bone in my life, and not even playing football. Like, I've I hung out with my cousins on Thanksgiving morning. We had a little turkey bowl thing, and I played probably for like about 20 minutes, and I was just like, oh, I can't do this, you guys. And I was slipping everywhere because it had rained the night before. And yeah, it was a big mistake. That's what it was. It was a huge mistake. When my cousin was like, all right, you guys, I'm done, I was like, yes, thank goodness. Because I didn't want to play anymore. But football, first of all, football is not my sport. You know, everybody should know that. So yeah, my nephew, even though he broke his elbow, he was still like having fun. He was still playing with us, even though he couldn't really bend his elbow. But he was still like, you know, joyful and without a worry in the world. And you know, think about it. If all of us, you know, at an adult age would have had that same situation where we're like, oh, I just broke my elbow, we'd be devastated. We're so much more susceptible to being in our own sorrow and just being in our own like pittiness. We forget to just be joyful and happy with what we have and what we got. And if it takes one day out of the year to be thankful, just let us freaking do that. You know? You don't have to be bummed out all the time. You know, for the majority of the year, we have to go to work. We have to grind it out. We have to deal with managers that we don't like. We have to deal with condescending supervisors. We have to deal with all these things. And for this one day that brings us peace and happiness, you're going to try to bum me out? Bum yourself out. If it's really something that you need to reflect yourself on, if you don't have to bring everyone down with you. You guys just, you know, it's kind of like, I have a cousin who's a vegetarian, and I had to block her. All right, I'm sorry if she finds out. I don't really care, honestly, because who does this? She's a vegetarian, so what does she have to do? She has to shame everybody who decides to eat meat. Why? It's my choice to eat the meat. I'm not forcing it down your throat. There's no point to making someone feel guilty for something that they shouldn't feel guilty about, right? So this whole thing, I wasn't the one that sent Christopher Columbus, you know? No one was. I wasn't the one that oppressed and you know, ruined these 7,000 people's lives. It wasn't me. But I want to be thankful for what I have, so why can't I do that? Of course I can. So stop driving in these holiday seasons, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, or whatever you celebrate. Don't let anybody bum you out, because those people, even if you're bummed out, that's not going to make them happy. Just enjoy what you have in front of you. Right? This life that we have is freaking precious, you know? Like I said, despite the fact that we have to grind it out every single day, these times that we get to spend with the people that we care about most, and you know, that makes us feel like we're home. You know, for us to lose and miss out on that just because, you know, someone is like, hey, if I post this, it's gonna look like I care so much. It's like, no, you kind of just sound like a douche now. You kind of just bummed everybody out. You're like in a comedy movie when, you know, you're not even a comedy movie. You're the movie where it's everything's nice until someone dies of cancer. That's what you are. You want to win awards and you want people to get up and start clapping because, oh, look how great you are, because you care. Despite the fact that you probably can't do anything about it either. I don't know. Anyways, I guess that's enough rambling. I asked people on Instagram to ask me questions, but it's too late. No one asked me anything. Which is alright. It's fine. I'm fired up about this whole Thanksgiving thing. Anyways, that's beside the point. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm gonna be doing open mics, so come check me out. What else is there to say? I mean, there's nothing else. The NBA is kind of calmed down. Chuck Liddell versus Tito Ortiz is happening pretty soon, and I'm not going to watch it. For just simply because what, it's Golden Boy Productions. What is? I think there was I think it was what Oscar De La Hoya was talking about, was promoting it. I'm gonna see if I can look it up real quick. But this guy, I heard that he sounds like he doesn't know what he's talking about at all. So yeah, man. So oh, see, here we go. So it's already like, wow, Oscar De La Hoya completely unprepared for his first MMA press conference. Of course, he's not prepared. He's a he's a boxing. He's a boxer. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't really know much about the NBA. So let's see. Oh man, my bad. Some other guy that had his commentary. I'm not trying to hear that.
An event that I'm really looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
It's our very first MMA event. Golden Boy MMA presents Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz.
He sounds like
When
if
you
I was
think
doing
about
this.
Tito Ortiz, when you think about Chuck Liddell, you think about pioneers.
Chuck Liddell.
You think about legends.
No, I think of two people who are too old to. This isn't. This is gonna be on pay-per-view, by the way, and they're gonna get like 3 people to pay for it. Him and his family.
And I mean, if you were to ask me, who your favorite fighters are in the
MMA,
world,
yeah.
all I think about is
Why is
Tito
this?
Ortiz and Chuck Liddell.
All he thinks about is like, why isn't this boxing?
I mean, who doesn't like watching a final chapter? A fight that.
Oh my goodness, he looks so nervous.
Fight, because the last 2 were great. I do.
Does Oscar De La Hoya even know how the last 2 fights ended? Because I don't. But he wants a final chapter. That's what he's saying.
Which should be a really, really exciting co-main event. And I do like to call up to the podium Tom Lawler, who is a light heavyweight. He is a contender in the light heavyweight division. And I'm sure some of you have seen him fight. I've already seen some of his past fights, and let me tell you,
it's like he Googled it before.
Explosion written all over him.
Good afternoon, everybody.
All right. That's enough. No. This is my podcast, not yours, brother. Yeah, so Oscar De La Hoya has no idea what MMA is, which is it's not surprising. I don't claim to know everything, but I could at least say that I know more than Oscar De La Hoya. He's a legend himself, so I'm not gonna talk too much trash because I'm positive, 100% positive, that man can knock me out easily. So can Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz very easily. I saw this video of Chuck Liddell, and it was like they were camping, and Steve-O was there, and I guess Chuck Liddell choked out Steve-O, and then Steve-O was like he went out, and it looked like he was high on drugs again, and then he gets up and he's like, oh wow, that was amazing, Chuck Liddell. Man, the first thing that I thought, I was like, Steve-O better not like that feeling, because then we're gonna lose Steve-O pretty quickly, because remember he's an ex-drug addict, and to feel some sort of euphoria has to be like due to like passing out or not being conscious. Yeah, it can't be a good thing. So stay strong, Steve-O. We love you. Anyways, that's pretty much all that I have for today. So it's been a weird week. It's been a good week. The holiday season is here. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next time. And I don't have my music ready, but it's cool. So we'll see you next time, and can't wait to chop it up with you guys again. Peace.